I didn't buy the house for attention. I bought it for quiet. But the first photo I shared, just the deck at sunrise, detonated the family group chat. 10 minutes later, my mother texted like the decision had already been made. Perfect. Julian and Bree can move in by Friday. They arrived with suitcases, a crib, and a locksmith. I thought I was finally claiming my own Christmas. Turns out, I was interrupting a plan that already had my name written all over it without my consent. My name is Faith Stewart. In my everyday life, I'm a brand strategist at Redwood Meridian, an agency in Harborview that smells like cold brew and restrained ambition. I build stories for companies, distilling chaos into clean narratives that look intentional and strong. I'm good at it. I'm good at taking messy realities and making them presentable. I live in a waterfront condo made of glass and concrete. I chose it because it looks nothing like where I grew up. Home was Maple Bridge, Connecticut. A pristine 3-story colonial with white shutters lined up like soldiers and a lawn so perfect it looked vacuumed instead of cut. The kind of houseful magazines love. Golden trees. Balanced symmetry. But symmetry is just another word for control. Our family orbited around a single center. My parents, Gregory and Celeste Stewart, were the gravity. My older brother Julian, 4 years ahead of me, was the sun. Everything revolved around him. I was somewhere farther out. A distant moon. The only person who ever seemed to notice was my grandmother, Nana Ruth. The walls of that house told the truth. Not with words, with placement. Julian's first lacrosse stick was sealed behind glass like a sacred artifact. His model UN plaques climbed the staircase in perfect alignment. Varsity letters framed. Polished. Centered. My accomplishments lived in a cardboard box beneath the basement stairs. Debate ribbons. Honor roll certificates. A poem I'd had published in a regional journal. All neat. All invisible. They didn't match the aesthetic. The erasing didn't happen overnight. It started small. Then became routine. Eventually, it turned into tradition. Christmas made it obvious. Every year, there was an excuse. Oh Faith, we thought you were busy with city friends. It was such a last-minute plan. You're so independent, we always assume you're fine. What they meant was simpler. We didn't think about you. I can pinpoint the beginning. I was 10. It was a cold Saturday morning. The kitchen smelled like butter and syrup. Julian had a game. My mother stood at the stove, carefully pouring pancake batter into a perfect, oversized J. She watched it like an artist watches a canvas. I sat at the island and waited. The clock ticked loudly, each second landing in the silence. Eventually, I got down, grabbed bread, and made myself toast. It was dry. It scraped my throat going down. No one noticed. As we got older, the exclusion became more refined. When I was a teenager, I won a regional writing award. I came home holding the certificate and a crisp $100 check, my chest tight with pride. My mother barely glanced at it. "That's nice, dear," she said, eyes fixed on an envelope from a university. "Then, while you're here, can you proofread Julian's college essay? You're good with words." My achievement wasn't celebrated. It was reassigned. The first holiday that broke something permanently was my freshman year of college. I'd already booked my train ticket home when my father called. "Change of plans," he said. "We're flying to Palm Beach. Tickets are too expensive to add another seat this late. We'll see you at New Year's." I cancelled my ticket. Spent Christmas alone in an empty dorm eating ramen and watching old movies. In January, I visited Nana Ruth. On her refrigerator, held up by a cartoon magnet, was the Stewart family Christmas card. My parents and Julian smiling in front of our fireplace, dressed in matching red sweaters. The date printed at the bottom, December 24th. They hadn't gone anywhere. They just hadn't wanted me there. I didn't cry. It was colder than that. It felt like a door closing, quietly, but for good. I learned how to survive by becoming exceptional. When you're not invited, you stop waiting. You stop hinting. You stop leaving gaps in your calendar just in case someone remembers you. I built a life that didn't require permission. My Decembers became strategic. I planned them with military precision. Solo trips to places where snow was guaranteed and family was optional. I bought myself the expensive bottle of wine. Learned how to cook a perfect roast for one. I made exclusion look like preference. You have to retrain your senses when you grow up like that. The smell of oranges studded with cloves doesn't mean Christmas to me. It means someone else's celebration, laughter bleeding through a closed door. So I chose a different scent. Peppermint. Sharp. Clean. Uncomplicated. Peppermint tea by the gallon. Peppermint bark straight from the tin. Peppermint lotion on my desk. It smelled like silence. Like peace I could control. At Redwood Meridian, momentum is currency. For 6 months, my entire focus had a name: Tideline Outdoors. They were stuck in another decade, khaki vests, technical jargon, selling adventure instead of relief. My job was to reframe them. I called the strategy Find Your Signal. Not conquering peaks. Not domination. Clarity. A moment of calm in the noise. The campaign launched in late summer. Today was the results review. I stood at the head of the glass boardroom while fog pressed against the harbor-facing windows. The clients filled the screen, pixelated, expectant. I clicked to the final slide. In conclusion, I said evenly, the campaign didn't just meet targets. It exceeded them. I let the numbers speak. 12 months of projected engagement reached in 90 days. A 400% spike in the 18 to 25 demographic. I don't celebrate in meetings. I present facts. The fact was, we won. My performance review was scheduled for that Friday. Arthur motioned for me to close the door. I won't waste your time with platitudes, he said. The clients are thrilled. The board is thrilled. He slid an envelope across the desk. Thick. Cream-colored. Your standard raise hits in January. This, he added, is immediate. Inside was a check. Made out to me. For $85,000. I stared at it until the numbers blurred. It wasn't money. It was leverage. A door unlocking. You earned it, Arthur said. Go enjoy your weekend. I left the office with the envelope secured in my bag, my hand brushing against it like proof it was real. My first instinct was to call my parents. I didn't. Just weeks earlier, my father had texted me a link to an MBA program. Have you considered this? Julian did his. Julian, who still rotated through consulting gigs and, as far as I knew, had my parents paying his car insurance. Instead, my team dragged me out to celebrate. Tacos. Loud music. Clinking glasses. To Faith, Gabe shouted, the only person who could make mosquito netting feel aspirational. I laughed. I ate. I felt warm. After an hour, I stepped outside into the cold coastal air and dialed the only number that mattered. Nana Ruth. I always know, she said after I told her about the bonus. And I'm proud of you. That was enough. That night, sleep didn't come. The money sat in my account, no longer just savings, something else. A way out. I opened my laptop and went to Zillow. Usually, I browsed city lofts. On impulse, I changed the location. High timber. A mountain town I'd driven through once. And that's when I saw it. An A-frame. Black. Sharp. Triangular against snow and pine. 3 bedrooms. Massive deck. New listing. I called the realtor at nearly midnight. She answered. 10 minutes later, I was on a live video tour, staring at a wall of glass overlooking a dark, endless valley. When I asked myself the question I'd avoided my entire adult life. Can I be alone here and feel safe? The answer came immediately. Yes. The next morning, I didn't call a mortgage broker. I created an LLC. I named the LLC High Pine. High for the mythic bird said to calm storms. Pine for the trees that would shield the house. My name wouldn't be on the deed. My name wouldn't be on the utilities. The house would belong to the company. It wasn't secrecy. It was insulation. I opened a business account and transferred everything, the bonus and my savings. At 9:01 a.m., I called Maya Linwood. I'm making an offer. You haven't even smelled the air yet, she laughed. I've seen enough, I said. All cash. 21-day close. Through the LLC. Her tone shifted instantly. Okay. Let's do this. I offered $10,000 under asking. The sellers countered at 5. I stared at the screen, finger hovering. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a declaration. I typed accepted. The next 3 weeks were mechanical. Full days at Redwood Meridian. Nights signing documents, reviewing inspections, wiring funds. I told no one. In my notes app, I wrote 4 rules. Keys mine. Address private. Mail to P.O. Box. Access by invitation only. Closing day came quietly. A sterile office. A final signature. 3 brass keys dropped into my palm, heavier than they should have been. I drove up alone. No moving truck. Just tools, pillows, a sleeping bag, and coffee. The playlist for the 3-hour drive was called Different December. All instrumentals. Purpose without lyrics. And that's when I saw it. An A-frame. Black. Sharp. Triangular against snow and pine. 3 bedrooms. Massive deck. New listing. I called the realtor at nearly midnight. She answered. 10 minutes later, I was on a live video tour, staring at a wall of glass overlooking a dark, endless valley. When I asked myself the question I'd avoided my entire adult life. Can I be alone here and feel safe? The answer came immediately. Yes. The next morning, I didn't call a mortgage broker. I created an LLC. I named the LLC High Pine. High for the mythic bird said to calm storms. Pine for the trees that would shield the house. My name wouldn't be on the deed. My name wouldn't be on the utilities. The house would belong to the company. It wasn't secrecy. It was insulation. I opened a business account and transferred everything, the bonus and my savings. At 9:01 a.m., I called Maya Linwood. I'm making an offer. You haven't even smelled the air yet, she laughed. I've seen enough, I said. All cash. 21-day close. Through the LLC. Her tone shifted instantly. Okay. Let's do this. I offered $10,000 under asking. The sellers countered at 5. I stared at the screen, finger hovering. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a declaration. I typed accepted. The next 3 weeks were mechanical. Full days at Redwood Meridian. Nights signing documents, reviewing inspections, wiring funds. I told no one. In my notes app, I wrote 4 rules. Keys mine. Address private. Mail to P.O. Box. Access by invitation only. Closing day came quietly. A sterile office. A final signature. 3 brass keys dropped into my palm, heavier than they should have been. I drove up alone. No moving truck. Just tools, pillows, a sleeping bag, and coffee. The playlist for the 3-hour drive was called Different December. All instrumentals. Purpose without lyrics. By the time I reached the gravel drive, the sun was setting. The A-frame cut a black silhouette against a bruised purple sky. The cold hit hard. Clean. Sharp. Pine and snow. The lock clicked open. Inside, the house was empty and echoing. Cedar and stillness. I inflated an air mattress in the middle of the great room, facing the glass wall and stone fireplace. That first night was freezing. I could see my breath. After a few tries, blue flames snapped to life in the fireplace. Lying there, fully dressed, something settled into my chest, not fear, but responsibility. There was no one else to fix things. No one else to blame. That wasn't frightening. It was grounding. My life split cleanly in 2. Weekdays in Harborview. Evenings driving 3 hours uphill. Sleep, wake before dawn, drive back. Coffee and adrenaline carried me. Weekends were work. I sanded cabinets until my arms burned, stripping dark stain down to raw wood. I replaced yellow lights with clean white track lighting and cried when it finally flooded the kitchen evenly. I replaced the locks. Heavy-duty smart locks. Reinforced plates. New master code known only to me. When the bolt slid into place, the sound was final. Furniture came next. A real mattress. A deep sofa. 2 identical bed frames for the guest rooms. I assembled every bolt myself. These weren't obligation rooms. They were choice rooms. One night, I wrapped warm lights around the deck railing. Hours of numb fingers. When I plugged them in, the deck glowed like a ship floating in darkness. For the first time, I wasn't invisible. At the grocery store in High Timber, the cashier smiled. "You're the one who bought the cedar A-frame. Welcome." Just like that. I invited my friends for a test weekend. Chili. Board games. Laughter bouncing off beams. The house held it. It held joy. That night, alone again, I posted 3 photos to my private Instagram. The deck at dawn. A mug by the fire. Flames in stone. I woke to silence. Fresh coffee scent, cold pine air. Blissful. Until my phone buzzed. Notifications. Flooded. All from the Stewart family group chat. Someone, probably Mom, had screenshot my private Instagram post. The deck at dawn. The caption, "Bought myself a quiet place." Texts poured in. "Whose house is this?" "It's beautiful." "An aunt." "Faith, where did you go?" "Cousin." Then, the real blow, Celeste Stewart. "Mom. Exciting news, everyone. Faith bought a mountain getaway. Perfect timing. Julian and Belle need space for the baby. We'll bring the nursery up Friday." So blessed. No question. No offer. Just a declaration. I read it twice. 3 times. The house I had bought with 6 months of brutal work, sanded and secured with my own hands, was now Julian's annex. Before I could react, Dad chimed in dryly. "Faith, we need to discuss tax implications and liability." "We, not you." "And Julian?" Thumbs up emoji. Photo of U-Haul boxes labeled nursery. I put my coffee down. Hands cold. Heart steady. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was an annexation. Then Mom's solo text arrived. "Faith, glad we're on the same page. Christmas is at your place. Non-negotiable. Don't worry about groceries. Non-negotiable." As if she were CEO, not the mother who had forgotten me for decades. The grocery offer was insult wrapped in generosity. I didn't owe them anything. Not space. Not a holiday. Not an explanation. I typed, "No. I've made other plans." Sent. The heaviest 3 words I had ever written. Phone rang. Dad. I let it ring twice. Breathed peppermint tea deep. Pressed accept. I didn't say, "Hi, Dad." I said, "Hello, Faith." His tone, calm, corporate. "I saw your text. She's upset. This isn't a game. Julian's lease is ending. Be useful. Be useful." I mirrored him. Corporate, calm. "I understand Julian's situation. My house is not a solution. No one is moving in. That is final. Please do not come uninvited." Silence. Cold, sharp. I had never spoken like that. Never said final. He huffed. "Offense, not anger. We'll see about this, Faith." Click. Hands no longer cold. They were moving. Screenshots. Group chat. Solo text. My reply. Call logs. Encrypted folder, deck boundaries. Every image. Every message. Every proof. Then Nana Ruth called. "Hi Nana. Just got off the phone with your mother," she said, no preamble. She laughed, sharp. "Of course they did. A vacuum hates emptiness. Your family hates you having one thing that isn't theirs. Don't let them bully you. Lock the doors. Call the sheriff. Tell them you have uninvited trespassers. You understand? Sheriff. Trespassers." Her voice carried clarity, strategy, and brutal validation. "Yes, Nana," I said. The dread lingered, but I had a plan. A strategist's mind, moving already. No counselors. No mediation. I searched, High Timber property litigation. The first result, Winters Legal. Minimalist gray and black. Tagline: clarity. Strategy. Resolution. Sable Winters. I called. Ms. Winters. Faith Stewart. New owner of Kestrel Ridge via LLC High and Pine. I need consultation, trespass and occupancy rights. Today. Appointment confirmed. I spent hours organizing evidence. Printed group chats. Screenshots. Photos. Black folder. Analytical, precise. At her office, silent, charcoal walls. Sharp woman in dark wool. No handshake. Property issue. Family issue becoming a property issue, I said. Laid out the full history: purchase, post, texts, invasion attempt. She read every page. Expression neutral. Not uncommon, she said. Money, entitlement, second homes. Combustible mix. Tapped my mother's screenshot. Sable Winters leaned back. Her fingers steepled. Let me get this straight, she said. Your mother, father, and Julian believe they can claim residence in a property you legally purchased. Correct? Yes. And my mother sent the group message as if she owned it, not me, I said. She smiled faintly. Sharp, calculating. Classic. They're testing boundaries. They hope you'll flinch. People who see family as property do not respect ownership unless confronted with consequences. I wanted to punch the air. Instead, I said, I'm ready. She handed me a binder. This is a pre-litigation strategy. You'll send a formal letter of occupancy denial, with legal documentation confirming you are the sole owner. You do not negotiate. You do not apologize. You assert. I scanned it. Bold. Formal. My name, LLC, property address, state statute citations. Clear. Non-negotiable. Drafted for maximum psychological impact, Sable said. We want them to pause, not retaliate physically. Your mother is a manipulator. Julian is oblivious. Dad, well, he's the silent enforcer. They all need clarity that your space is off limits. I nodded. Next step, she continued, security and monitoring. Cameras at all entrances. Motion sensors. Logged alerts. If anyone crosses the property line, you have immediate evidence for trespass charges. You don't guess. You document. I pulled out my phone. Took notes. Each step a mental map of containment, escalation, and final assertion. Finally, Sable said, we prepare for pushback. They will try guilt, pressure, maybe even legal threats. Ignore. Forward everything to me. You do not respond emotionally. You respond legally. I could feel the weight lifting. Not entirely, but enough to see strategy instead of panic. She slid a sheet across the table. Timeline of action. Immediate cease and desist notice. Lock all entrances. Install surveillance. Record all future communication. Forward any interaction to attorney. Prepare for court filing if violation occurs. I realized, for the first